Love 15.
And already Venus just surprised a little bit by the speed of what's coming back at her.
Love 30.
And that's going to be the question, the challenge for Venus as this match goes on, to get the serve going, not let the double faults creep in. You could see Gauff stepping in already, looking, try to apply some pressure to Williams.
And just a murmur going around the crowd here. It's only been going about 2 minutes, but the signs already are there and they're troubling.
First serve.
Venus has to make sure she keeps the rhythm going on her serve. Every so often she can slow up and get a little stilted with it. That last serve, nice and smooth out into the court.
We expected this place would be really pumping.
First game.
But it's a mood of almost disbelief from what we've seen. And that's exactly what Chanda Rubin was talking about before. We just don't know what we're going to get from Venus. She's been away for a while. She hasn't played at this level for a long time. And quite frankly, in that first game, it looked like it.
Yeah, she hasn't played a match since November, Venus. She's had a couple of injury issues. And the most recent event pulled out with a hip injury, I believe, and that was in Adelaide. So it's tough when you come into a match like this one at a major, right out of the gate. You've got to be playing good tennis, and you just don't have the matches behind you. But Venus is such a pro.
Coco Gauff to serve.
See if she can work her way into this. An excellent start from Gauff.
The win predictor,
15 love.
as we just saw, 66-34 in favour of Venus. That was before the match started. Well, it would have changed dramatically already.
With that win predictor, probably the majority of that 34% on Gauff's side was because she's beaten Venus in their only previous meeting. But all the other checks are in the Venus-Williams column.
And there's the contrast. The ball coming out of the middle of the racket of this young lady, the 15-year-old from the word go. Venus struggling with her timing. It's hard to imagine a more lopsided start than that.
Gauff leads 2 games to love.
Well, Gauff has done a perfect job of, as we talked about, playing what's coming at her, not the person, not the resume. And she had an opportunity in that first game to get the break, and that is crucial.
That's more like the Venus we've seen over the years.
15
Venus
love.
has got to keep getting up and out into the court. She's so tall, at about 6'1", between 6'1" and 6'2" in height. She's got to use all of her frame. Sometimes the problem for Venus is that toss stays a little too low. She doesn't get it up high enough, and so by the time she looks to extend and make contact, she's not at full extension. Another double fault there.
And she was just caught with her feet not moving.
15,
That happened
13.
in the very first point of the match. Something's got to change here, and Coco has got to be saying to herself, well, it will change at some stage. It won't be at this level all the way through, but she's got to make hay while the sun's shining for her and not for Venus.
That's where Venus is at her best, when she's coming in, eating up space at the net.
30.
She's got a long wingspan, not easy to get the ball by her and over her. And sometimes for Venus, when she's moving in like that, it just puts more pressure on her opponent. They often don't come up with the next shot. Doesn't have to always play the volley.
Jammed her up with the body serve, and that is a big sigh of relief that you're hearing from Venus Williams. A troubled start. She's down a
Gauff
break
leads 2 games to
already.
1 for set.
Coco Gauff leads 2-1.
Love 15.
Well, when you think about Venus's record in Grand Slam first round, 72-12. One of those 12 matches that she's lost has come to this against this young woman on the other side of the court. That is a big psychological advantage. Gauff trying to take advantage of it.
Love 13.
That time Venus just changing the rhythm up ever so slightly, forcing Gauff to move forward a little more unexpectedly. A little opening for Venus here.
Well, Venus did a great job to get the serve back because it was right on her hip.
15,
But she couldn't do anything about controlling it.
And it was a smart play from Gauff to work her legs to get the forehand. This froze Venus because Gauff could have gone either way.
She's done a good job of getting first serves into play.
30.
In the couple of service games she's had, she's 3 out of every 4 first serves in, 75%, more than acceptable.
(30-14).
Everything looked off kilter at the start for Venus, but if she can convert this point, well, we can essentially start again.
Oh, that's big serving.
187.
Deuce.
So clutch from Gauff taking just a little extra time before tossing that last one up.
Advantage, Gauff.
That title she won in Linz, her first title last year. She beat Ostapenko in the final. She's got a bit of touch as well. How's that for understanding from a 15-year-old? Venus got herself into a tangle with the return of serve.
Gauff leads 3-1.
But it was still almost awkward for Coco, but she came up with the right shot.
Yeah, this was quick thinking from Gauff. Saw where Venus was, well behind the baseline, making a quick adjustment in her shot selection.
That is a big hold from down a break point.
That's one of the things I was a little surprised at during their match at Wimbledon. Venus didn't seem to come in as much as I thought she would, putting that pressure on Gauff. These early stages, it looks like she's trying to implement that strategy.
Ms. Gauff is challenging the call on the left far sideline. The ball was called out.
We're slightly obscured on that line, but it did feel as though the ball was floating out, and the official got a fair while to have a look at it.
30 love.
And the great champion starting to get her feet moving.
That is a fantastic point from Venus. And sometimes you get a little bit older.
2 challenges remaining.
Takes you a little longer to get going, but you just see Venus working her way into this match. So explosive at the end of that rally. Did we say older? I should say wiser.
Game Williams.
A very convincing service game from Venus, and she needed one. Gauff still with the break in the first game. Up her sleeve, she leads 3-2.
time Venus was almost forced in, and that's a good play against lots of players, because it's one thing to come in on your own terms, but coming in because you have to, you're not as on balance, you're not as clear. Gauff still impressive from the ground. She's not panicking. She's not overplaying in a lot of these longer, extended rallies. That's what Venus has to cut down on, the unforced errors. That's number 8. These are shots that she's just got to flood the court with at this stage.
Let. First serve. Game Gauff.
Stress-free hold of serve for the 15-year-old.
Gauff leads 4-2 first set.
Again, Coco Gauff's support group, her parents, as well as her dad is her coach.
Starting to find the groove.
Second serve. Second serve.
Gauff has done a good job of stretching the court, opening things up as often as possible. And again, on that return, stepped in, got an excellent angle.
(30-15).
Beautifully played by Gauff. Venus made a miscalculation on the approach, went cross court instead of down the line, and when it wasn't a winner, Gauff just smartly, right here, Venus needed to take that up the line, but instead it's Gauff who turns the tables. Such a smart player.
was a big point. If she's going to be any hope
40-13.
of perhaps rescuing this first set.
One of the things that it looks like Gauff is doing a better job of is getting set up a little earlier. Seemed to notice that in the first tournament she played in Auckland. Just looks like she's getting that racket back a little quicker, and it allows her more options from the ground.
Advantage, Williams. Deuce.
Gauff is also getting nice spin, nice action on her forehand, and so she's looking very consistent, very regulated off of that side.
Well, this is good backs to the wall stuff from Venus. She knows that if she goes down a break point here effectively, it's going to be a set point, a double break. You wouldn't think there's any way of coming back from that. She's fighting hard, doesn't she always?
That's just a little wide.
Deuce.
Sometimes easy to forget that Venus, she is one of the best competitors out there, has been throughout her career. It's one of the reasons why she's still playing at this level. Just pulling off of that last forehand. Another big serve. If you look at Venus's face, it's hard to tell whether she's winning or losing in most of her matches. Competes so evenly, doesn't get too high or too low, stays pretty positive overall.
You'd have to think she'd be a pretty good poker player.
Very good poker player. It's hard to tell what she's thinking half of the time. And this game, an important one for Venus to keep herself within striking distance of this first set.
Let for serve.
That's a smart return
Advantage,
from Gauff. Didn't go for a whole lot, but just hard and deep up the middle.
Effectively then, after nearly half an hour, it's not officially a set point, but it may as well be. This is for the double break.
That's smart from Venus. Gauff got a little tentative on the return. She's been going
Deuce.
after that return, but there just placed it in, guided it in, and Venus attacks.
Advantage Williams.
And Venus has to be thinking to herself, if I can just hang on here. This one's not in the book yet. It only takes one slip up and we get it back onto level terms again.
Game Williams.
And hang on, she does. That might turn out to be a very important hold of serve. The 15-year-old still with the advantage, though. New ball's coming.
Gauff leads
4-3. Just find her mojo a little bit. New balls. The intensity's still there after all these years. 49 career titles. She's played in 34 other finals in her career. You can add 22 doubles titles to that, all of them with Serena, 14 of those Grand Slams. She's been the Olympic singles champion in Sydney. She's been the Olympic doubles champion 3 times. And one of the other accolades that Venus has at the moment is in the record books. Nobody has made finals with a longer span between the first and most recent. It was 20 years between her first Grand Slam final at the US Open in '97 and then Wimbledon 20 years later. Truly remarkable. And this is one of those moments we were talking about. Venus knew the importance of that previous game. She hung in there, and now she's got a real chance. A look at 30 all.
And I think she also maybe saw Gauff get a little tentative on that return on break point, and that's all it takes sometimes. But Gauff, she's not going to be denied here, and she has never just gone away and comes up with another fantastic serve under a little pressure.
Earlier today, we saw Naomi Osaka do something similar to this. When the big points were there, when she was in a bit of trouble, she came up with the booming serves.
Leads 5-3.
And the 15-year-old is following in her footsteps.
Yeah, Gauff not far behind. That last one, 180 kilometers per hour. Done my calculations in miles per hour. I got it in my head.
Unlucky. Not much Venus could do with that, apart from scoop it.
15.
Yes, if you're more familiar with miles per hour rather than kilometres per hour, the number to keep in mind is 160. 160 kilometres an hour is 100 miles an hour, and then you can kind of work it out from there.
Love 30.
Tough series of points for Venus from 30 all in the Gauff service game. Has just struggled to get that ball flowing back into the court. Now Gauff in control again.
15-13.
So often Venus has gone with the big serve, especially down the tee. That time took a little off, got a little more spin, got it out a little wider, created the error.
In this game,
15-14.
shades of what happened in the first couple of games of the match, where she was slow into her rhythm. She got it back for a little while mid-set, but now the 15-year-old with 2 chances to close the set out in just a little more than half an hour. So far, both players hustling hard.
30-14.
That's a type of point to take a little bit out of both players. Gauff doing a little more running and lunging at the very end. Still, set point.
Deuce.
Here Gauff telling herself to focus. Got a little flat-footed on that forehand return. Venus going right into the body.
Coco would dearly love to get it done here if she could, because it would be a twofold advantage. One, she'd avoid the pressure of having to serve it out for the first set, and 2, she'd get the advantage of serving first in the second. But she is going to have to do it herself, and the pressure of serving for the set can do funny things to people. The 15-year-old will be doing that in a moment at 5-4. Maybe at 15, she's just too young to be frightened.
And that's
15 up.
one of the keys for Gauff. Get the first serve going. That allows her to play from a stronger position in the court. It also takes away some of the nerves of having to hit second serves in this position.
Love.
That's a miss that Venus can't afford. We haven't seen very many of those types of shots. Just mishit it. Didn't quite address the ball.
She didn't make that one, but she has the amazing ability to get to shots where you think that she's got no right to get there. She gets her feet quickly to them and then finds a way to get set.
Well, she does what Venus did to so many opponents when Venus was a bit younger. Just was so hard to get the ball by her.
Yeah.
And Gauff is a similar type of athlete. I was one of those opponents that struggled to get the ball by her. You can see at some of these points, Venus just being a little smarter where she hits the ball, making sure of what her positioning is in the court and what the reply may be, thinking 1, 2, 3 shots ahead. That's a tough way to give up a set point.
And it's potentially a case of third time lucky for the young woman.
Let. First serve. Deuce.
She's done a brilliant job when her first serve has gone into play in this first set, Coco Gauff. She's only lost 2 points when the first delivery's gone in. Make that 3. And it comes at a most inopportune moment for her. And now Venus has scrapped and clawed her way back to a point where she can get back into this match. That's what all the years of experience can do. Yes, it comes through a double fault, but we've been talking about that pressure, and all of a sudden it's starting to manifest itself for Coco Gauff.
I mean, everybody feels it, and when you most want to win, when you most want a point is when it comes into play. A little more tension in the muscles, start thinking about the moment a little bit more, and you just lose a little focus on top of everything else. Everything right now was working against Gauff in that last game.
Love 15.
3 double faults now for Venus, matches Coco's tally. Nerves everywhere out there. It doesn't matter whether you're 15 or 39. Some brilliant touch.
Wasn't a bad play for Gauff, but Venus just had one shot better. Excellent court coverage at the net. And that is just textbook.
(30-15).
Venus is keeping a good percentage of first serves going. 64% right now, winning a good percentage behind her first serve as well.
(40-15).
Haven't things changed? It's taken 46 minutes, but Venus Williams, for the first time in the match, finds herself in front. On serve 6-5. Now the worst that Venus is going to get will be a tiebreak. It seems as though the rhythm and momentum of the match has been transferred from one side of the net to the other.
Venus, that's got to be a frustrating miss from her. A fairly basic rally ball. There's Mom Orsine.
Doesn't seem too troubled by the whole thing.
Finding some laughter in these moments. Tense moments for the players, but not for Orsine. The last couple of points, Venus has not given Gauff much of an angle. Hitting the ball a little more up the middle, but with good depth. Perhaps just testing the youngster, seeing where her head is at right now.
Miss Gauff is challenging the call on the left far sideline. The ball was called out.
A little bit of tension in Gauff because that ball was pretty well wide.
As much as anything, just trying to slow the rhythm down a little bit at the moment. May as well use it at the end, but that was a long way out. So perhaps just as much tactical as anything else.
Impressive stuff from Gauff. Her support box on their feet. Just
Miss Gauff has one challenge remaining.
At the end of this rally, outlasting Venus Williams.
I think part of the reason they're on their feet is they're trying to engender a bit of spirit because they can sense that she's just slumped a little. Massive point right now. And she comes up with a big serve again. She's done that time after time in this first set when she's been troubled.
And Venus has to respect Gauff's ability to go up the tee, and it's tough to cover both, especially with a good wide serve.
Game Gauff.
All things considered, probably a tie-break might be the fairest outcome.
Games all, first set, tiebreak.
Coco had all the
Both
momentum
players will
early
receive
on.
one additional challenge.
She had 3 set points throughout the duration of the 52 minutes of what we've just seen. But the great champion just would not go away. She continued to hang in, and now we go to the lottery of the breaker.
1-0, Gauff.
It's been quite a while since we've seen double fault from Venus, and not a great start to this tiebreak after she pulled that momentum back to her side.
Two-zero, Gauff.
And just a little flat-footed from Venus. 2 points, quick points back to back after fighting to get to this stage, and that's got to give Gauff tremendous boost.
Miss Williams is challenging the
wide
goal.
and perhaps a
The
little
right
long.
far sideline.
But again, once you get
The ball was
to
called out.
this point in the tiebreak, you may as well have a look if there's any jeopardy at all in your mind.
Yeah, these are important moments. Venus doesn't normally challenge, but this is worth another look.
A little wide.
3-0, Gauff.
And so Coco arrives at 3-0 and hasn't had to do that much to get to 3-0.
Such a crafty point from Venus. Looked like she was going to go cross court, but just changed up at the last moment, went down the line and followed it in. Venus has been
has 2 challenges.
very successful at the net. Hasn't come in as often, but already 6 of 8 points won up there.
Brilliant. She had the courage of her
3-2
convictions to go for it. Had it been wide, she would have been facing an enormous task.
Well, a couple of points ago, Venus missed a similar forehand. The one she challenged that time, adjusted, got it just a little further inside the lines. Couldn't have come at a better time.
Gauff still with the mini break in this first set tiebreaker. The unforced error count continues to mount. 25 now off the racket of Venus Williams. Coco's had 20 of her own.
Well, that last one for Venus, that hurts a bit because that was her backhand. She's been getting down and staying through that shot so nicely at times. Don't often see Venus miss her bread and butter in these big moments.
And you don't often see sets where she makes 25 unforced errors compared to just 11 winners.
I'd probably say the most important errors have been 3 or so in this tiebreak.
First serve.
Well, that's a good move from the youngster.
Go.
She decided to put the pressure on Venus, something that normally comes from the other end.
That's a good serve
5-3
from Venus,
Gauff.
right into the body. And Venus, she hits it so flat. If you're not ready for it, it can jam you. Not many players can jam you from that position on a serve.
Again, Venus going for her shots at the big moments.
5-4.
That's a go-to play for Venus. The forehand, she stayed beautifully through several of these shots to get Gauff stretched out and open up the backhand.
So now the first set on the racket of the 15-year-old.
That's big time.
Miss Williams is challenging the ball on the right serve. The ball was called in.
Venus has wandered to the other side, so I'm not sure that she's totally convinced that the challenge is going to help her, but it will.
Second serve. Miss Gauff is challenging the call on the left baseline. The ball was called in.
Venus, she got up off of that baseline. This ball looked right on the line.
Massive implications here for this challenge. And it is right on the line.
5-all. Miss Gauff has one challenge remaining.
The tiebreak then is mirroring what we saw in the entirety of the main body of the first set. Coco in charge early, Venus scrapping her way back. Outstanding stuff from the youngster.
6-5. Gauff.
Handling the big moment with aplomb.
And these are the moments that make a player, and Gauff, she is showing us, even at this early stage of her career, that she is up to the task.
And now for the fourth time, she's got a chance of closing it out, this time on the Williams serve. Enthralling. It was more than an hour, and there were lots of dips and troughs and brilliant moments, and it's the 15-year-old who emerges with the set, 7-6. There was a bit of a one in here too. Whoops.
Love 15. 15 all. Second serve.
This
30-15.
is the moments, these are the moments where it's easy, you know, to have a little bit of a letdown. You know, certainly if you're Gauff after such an emotional first set tiebreak win, important for her to keep that serve going. That's nicely played. And for Venus, it's tough because she fought so hard
40-15.
to get herself back into that first set to turn things around. It can be a little disheartening at the beginning of the second set after losing a tough first set. She's got to get that energy back up.
Well, it's the combination of the physical exertion and the emotional energy that you put into a situation like that. And that is just what Coco was looking for at the start of set two, a pretty much untroubled hold.
Well, it's very difficult to stay even from the start of a match to the finish. There are ebbs and flows where, you know, you get a little more energized, a little more pumped, more motivated. Sometimes you have little dips, and it's trying to regulate your play over the course of a match. And the player who can do that a little bit better, especially when it comes time to stretch a lead, that's who's going to have the advantage. And right now, it's Gauff who is trying to stretch that lead after winning the first set. Good service hold to start the second.
And that's a good way to start what is really an important game. It's only the second game of the second set, but there is so much of a premium attached to holding serve here for Venus.
Love.
If she were to go down 2-love here and find herself in the same position she was in the first set, then she has to expend all of that physical and emotional energy again.
First service.
Only 143, but it was so wide that
40 love.
the youngster just wasn't in the play.
Yeah, smart serve by Venus there.
That was a wild one. this is danger territory now. She was cruising along in this game at 40 love.
Deuce.
Well, it's been Gauff who just ramped up the intensity just a little bit more.
Now, this is real trouble.
Advantage, Gauff.
If the break could be achieved under the circumstances that it would be, and that would even do more to emphasise the confidence that Coco Gauff would get coming from love 40 to break point. Well, that's huge. And it came out of the blue. Venus looked to be cruising at the top of that game. We talked about the importance of avoiding dropping your first service game because, again, it's hard enough to do, Chanda, what she did in the first set with all the physical and emotional energy. It's hard enough to do it once, but now she's got to do it twice.
Yeah, exactly. And Gauff, I mean, she's learned a little bit from that first set. She's figured out a way how to make adjustments, even when she's gotten a little disappointed that last game. Increase the intensity and her focus just enough, and that's what Venus is contending with right now.
She did a really good job there. The ball from Williams landed right on the line. It skidded on her a bit, but she kept her nerve, kept her head down. Whoops, nearly. Right idea, just lacked a little in the execution. But she's thinking her way through this. Remember, we're watching someone who is 15 years of age.
You mentioned earlier in the match that Venus had already won 4 of her major titles before this young woman was born. That was in 2004. She'll be 16 in March. Incredible. Think about how far her game has come.
Seeing this young woman in action, and we've just seen evidence of why at the start of the second set. 3-love.
3 games to love, second set.
You could just hear the sound. The sound is different with the new balls, as well as the way it fizzes off the racket.
Love.
This would be a really nice steadying game for Venus if she could have a quick hold.
40-50.
This is where Venus has gotten herself into trouble a couple of times on her service games, where it looked like it was going to be easy, then the first serve kind of went away, and Gauff has constantly looked to take advantage.
Game Williams.
And she'll be glad it didn't get to 40-30, because she might have been thinking, here we go again.
Gauff leads 3-1, second set.
A relatively straightforward hold then for the 7-time Grand Slam champion. She gets herself on the board, but the damage may have already been done.
It's definitely worth remembering that Gauff is in such a good rhythm. Won her first title end of last year. Has already played a tournament this year.
The other thing that she was able to do last year was win a couple of doubles titles. She won at Washington and Luxembourg. And the combination, the Gauff-McNally combination, when they won at Washington, their combined team age was 33 years and 36 days.
Younger than a lot of players still out there. Doubles has been big for Gauff, just getting that winning feeling, building the confidence, her comfort level, playing in all areas of the court. And she and her partner, Cain McNally, they come in, they aren't afraid to take charge. It's one of the things that Venus has had to contend with in this match. Look at Gauff and the rhythm that she's in, just continuous play. And Venus, kind of the other end of the spectrum, hasn't played actually since October, that last tournament in 2019.
She's played the drop shot to great effect. And Venus has got those long legs that can carry her around the court pretty well, but at 39 years of age, probably not the way it used to be.
Well, it's not just the matches, the match confidence, but it's also that match fitness. And Gauff right now has gone up another level on Venus.
To the well a bit too often that time.
Yeah, I mean, at this moment, that's a time to just keep hitting. Gauff is up a set, up a break, with game point on her serve, and it's much more of a tentative shot going to the drop shot again, especially off the forehand.
Advantage, Gauff.
Never quite tell with Aryna whether the momentum of the match is well and truly with them or against them. Brilliant.
That's a fantastic shot from Venus.
Deuce.
Able to change direction and get on balance. It's going the other way, and that is pure athleticism. Still a few too many of those types of misses from Venus, and certainly, you know, the match fitness, the match conditioning. She's not quite there yet with her first match in a number of months. But you see Gauff there at the net, the previous point. That's what Venus needs to recognize, try to put herself in that position a little more often. Oh, beautiful.
This is a huge game now in the context of the match.
Deuce.
With every tick of the clock, with every deuce, it becomes more important.
When Venus just makes this look so easy, and it is far from easy. Staying down, especially at her height.
Out.
Yeah. Look long. Don't think Venus is going to bother.
Advantage Gauff.
Well, Gauff has gone out to the forehand on the serve a few times, and Venus just not able to read it. Prefer to be hitting that off the backhand side.
Six minutes plus, a nail-bite in fifth game of the second set. And the 15-year-old reinforces her dominance. It's just one break, and it's 4-1. But after what we saw in the first set, you wouldn't put it past her.
15 love.
Well, you have to think that Venus is still out here playing because she loves the game. She loves to compete, and if that's the case, these are the moments you embrace. Trying to find a way, figure out a way how to claw your way back into a match, and there's still plenty of tennis left if Venus wills it to be so. That makes life a little bit tougher. The second double fault of this set for Venus.
That was tight.
It's worth a challenge.
Call on the right baseline. The ball was called out.
The fact that the crowd murmured pretty quickly gives you an indicator that a lot of those murmurs would have come from people close to the baseline. And that's the reason that they were murmuring, because that's taken a piece of the line. Alison Hughes will get confirmation of that.
I've confirmed the ball was in. Replay the point. Fault. 40-50.
Good adjustment by Venus. The body serve works because Venus has been willing to go up the tee and out wide. Able to take Gauff by surprise.
Game.
An hour and a half it's been.
4 games to 2 seconds.
Very much going the way of the 15-year-old, but very much still alive. After what we saw at the end of the first set, if you thought the pressure is there to try and close out a set, when it's closing out a match against a person you've idolised, that adds another piece to the puzzle.
There's just nothing you can do about that kind of forehand from Venus. Quick take back, perfect contact point, coming out of nowhere with the change of direction.
And a good response.
And that's what you have to really enjoy about the Coco Gauff game. I mean, she just lets go of points loss, of mistakes, missed opportunities, comes right back. Not easy to have that short of a memory.
That was an exceptional shot. It was tough. She had to get down a long way to play that.
And also, she wasn't looking for the winner. She was ready for the next ball, got herself into position. And that is the key when attacking the net. Gotta want the ball.
One of the only things she hasn't done well this afternoon is her ball toss. It's caused her a few problems. So one of those points again that can determine the outcome of this set.
Yeah, that's a tough miss for Venus because she had put enough pressure into this game, into that point, and just let go of all of it. It's like sticking a pin in a balloon.
And we've sung the praises of Coco Gauff, the way she's been able to play the big points well. Her entourage are on their feet, and now she's just one game away from victory.
This time it's the Gauff forehand. It's gone awry the last couple of points.
The thought process very similar for the great champion then. Just get it to 5-3 and see what happens with the big game of the match. And that's what she does with a minimum of fuss. So again, the pressure reverts to the shoulders of the 15-year-old.
5 games to 3 seconds.
There was a little wobble at the end of the first set. And this one is even more difficult because this is the chance for a spot in the second round. Another victory against one of your idols.
Thank you. Players are ready. Let first serve. Love.
After that serve and miss, Coco Gauff's father standing up clapping. He's trying to will her to a level of energy here to close it out.
Just wide.
30 love.
Almost daring Venus. If you're good enough, get it past me. And she very nearly did. There is so much to like about this matchup when the computer generated it a few nights ago. One of the great rising stars of the game against one of the greatest there's ever been. It's lasted more than an hour and a half.
Ms. Gauff is challenging the call on the left baseline. The ball was called out.
And that was a challenge at 40 love, 3 match points, and saying, oh, yeah, well, may as well.
I just need a breather.
Yeah.
But it was in.
She wasn't convinced of that by any stretch.
And that's why you have the challenge system.
3 match points still. An appropriate way to finish it. Not up. Allison has called. That is game, set and match. The crowd are in a state of disbelief. It is over. The Wonder Kid. And her first appearance in Australia has again disposed of one of the greatest players in the history of the game. What a talent. An unfortunate way for it all to finish. An hour and 37 minutes, 7-6, 6-3. She's through to the second round, and it might be her first visit to Australia, but the wait was well and truly worth it.